The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hi, good evening. Christine J Hart here. And my show has absolutely no name. So anybody that can think of a name, please write it now in the chat room. But for the moment, it is an unnamed show. So, we've got a guest calling in that can't actually come in that way. So tonight's show, I'm going to talk about some health stuff. And one sec. Some health. Sorry. That was annoying. Some health stuff and issues around health and well-being, and my own discoveries about what has worked for me, and hopefully what will work for you. I have tried over the past couple of years to find different things to make me healthy, to feel good, to not crave sugar, to not be a food addict, which I think I am. And I have tried different things like the Atkins diet and, various fruits and just stuff to lose weight, to look good. I'm not super overweight, but just to be healthy as you get older, just to find something, to be one of those people that are vital and full of energy. And I've tried going to the shops and picking up the glowing fruit, and I read so many books about heal your gut and eat dirt and raw food. I read them, and I've got a NutriBullet, and I spin up things, and in my kitchen I have things like warrior milk and chlorophyll and all sorts of stuff, and I still don't feel great. I still feel kind of shitty, and one can think, well, maybe it's getting older, but I don't think so, because I have friends that, one friend who's 70 who just dashes about everywhere, looks fantastic. And I had my best friend was 87, and he came across like a 20-year-old. He had this like great vitality booming out of his eyes. So I don't think at my age, which was middle age, that you have to you have to start thinking, I'm getting old now, I have to look like shit and not be vital. So I've been trying all these various different things, and they haven't worked for me. And recently I felt myself at a crossroads in life. Like, I don't really know which way to turn, because I've been a journalist for many years. Before that, I was a private investigator, and I mixed the two things together. And of course, the phone hacking thing went off, and I was linked with that. So I couldn't work in my normal job, which was working for the media, which I really, really love doing. And so I came to a crossroads, not knowing what to do career-wise. And I knew that I wanted to help people, but I didn't know what to do. And it's quite odd to get to a certain age and not know what you want to do. It's kind of like being 16, but in an older body. So I felt weird about that. And then I did see a Facebook post recently, which was about somebody who didn't have much direction, etc., etc. And then they from their from their um, from their sorry, someone's really bugging me. From their sorry, so annoying, isn't it? From their gosh, from their position of being unhealthy, they all of a sudden started getting their body clear, and they said that their life direction came after that. And I thought that was quite interesting. And I read his post and then went out that day and bought lots of stuff. I bought just like green foods and some garlic and aloe vera juice. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to try all this and I'm going to feel great. And of course, I didn't feel great. In fact, I had a dizzy spell, which turned out was from the garlic that causes dizzy spells. And I did indeed have one. So, not that on my head. And so the aloe vera also tastes like shit. So that's still in the fridge. And I don't want to take the super green food because that it just tastes like eating ashes. It's like really bad taste. So I spent all this money and I just didn't want to take the stuff. And when I did take the stuff, it just made me feel horrible anyway and just wanted to eat better foods and foods that make me feel happy, like a biscuit or something. So yeah, so that I thought, well, and I gave up basically. I gave up on that and I just tried to eat okay, but didn't feel great. I haven't felt great recently, and I have chosen to move into the countryside, and I'm I'm sorry, I'm quite a long way from my son's school. And so I have to get up at 7 o'clock. No, get up at 6 and then leave the house at 7 and then we set off. And yeah, it's quite a long drive. It's an hour and a half. And so doing that each day, I've felt quite exhausted because I normally stay in the area. And when I was quite local to the school, I was quite local to the school. I would kind of do the school run, come back and just flake into bed, because it can be quite difficult and it can be quite draining where, you're taking care of someone else, you have to cook and, you don't really have that me time, which does tend to make you really relax and, you can regather your strength, etc. And I used to take that during the day. So I used to go back to bed and sleep till school pickup and I got my energy back that way. And so, but living so far away, I couldn't do that. So I was going and just hanging around this, not hanging around the school. I was going to spend the days in a local gym stroke club. So there I was in there, sort of tapping away on the laptop and just feeling like hell really because 6 o'clock mornings were quite difficult and I was feeling really wrecked actually, and it was quite hard. I kept trying to think to myself, well, I have to go to bed then probably at 9 o'clock, and then going to bed at 9 o'clock is pretty grim because it just didn't give you much of an evening. And I like to watch Big Brother and kind of chill out a bit, maybe mooch around and, read and have a nice long bath. And going to bed at 9 wasn't going to do it, but I thought maybe I would, maybe, sorry, this person is, shh. Yeah, so I was sort of in there and I was feeling really tired and I couldn't ended up not really being able to do much. And I ended up after doing the school run going to a park and even though it's freezing, just walking around to try and wake up and feeling a bit like a zombie and getting home in the evenings and feeling sort of like really badly tired and sometimes just getting in and just sleeping straight away as soon as I got in from the school run. And I just thought this isn't right somehow. And then at the weekends, I kind of really, really felt really quite exhausted. And I thought, well, this isn't great. And I thought, well, I'm only where I'm living temporarily, so I can move back, close to my son's school. So that doesn't really matter. But I didn't like being like that, and I thought, well, what's wrong with me that I'm like this? It can't be right. So I started taking iron and B12 and stuff to get more energy, but that didn't seem to do anything. And one day last week, I was mooching around. No, it was about, gosh, no, it's 3 days ago now. 3 days ago, I was mooching around a local town, just killing time because actually my gym, part of it, had closed. So I was mooching around and I passed a tea shop called Tea Tea. Gosh, sorry, this is so annoying. So yeah, maybe if I turn that round and I can't see. Actually, I think you can kind of make that go small. There, brilliant. I can't see. Yeah, so there I was mooching around town and I was passing a tea shop called T1. Now, there was a girl who I'd met in Neil's yard, and a lovely girl in there, and we'd got talking, got quite friendly, and she noticed that I liked essential oils and teas, and she recommended me rose tea, which is quite relaxing and quite cool. And she said, "Have you been in a shop called T1?" And I hadn't actually been in T1. And she said to me, "T1 is actually in Kingston High Street." And so she said go in there because they have white tea, and I had tried white tea one time in the India Tea Company, and it's quite expensive, and it was okay. And I bought some actually. I bought silver tip tea one Christmas, and it was okay, but it wasn't fantastic. It wasn't really didn't really light the universe up. And oh my, this guy's still bugging me, isn't it? Just amazing. So yeah. So anyway, I was passing, and because I was trying to kill time, I thought I know I'll go in there, and they seemed to have. Oh yes, there was a sign up, and it said, "You pick out the things you like, and we'll make you a tea up, and you can sit there and sample it." So I thought I know, rather than just buying a coffee, which I do sort of. I have to have a big coffee in the morning to get up, or I can't get out of bed with that big coffee, and then I have maybe about two or three after that. And so I thought instead of buying coffee, I'll go in there, mooch, and have free tea. So I went in and met this really interesting guy who knew all about teas, and I ended up buying some green gunpowder tea. And then just as I was leaving, I saw him mix up something which was a green powder, bright green, and he put it into a special bowl, which is like a plaster bowl. And he kind of whisked it with a bamboo thing and started turning it and like praying or something. And because I find things like that jolly interesting of other cultures, I asked him what he was doing, and he said it was matcha tea. That's Matcha, and he said that matcha tea comes from Japan, and it's used in royalty. It's used in oh, this guy is still bugging me. What, 1 second. Just I can't actually bring that. Oh, that's 1 second. Sorry. You were meant to talk about some. Gosh. One second. Okay, this guy's really bugging me. Let me see if he knows anything about. Here he is. Okay. People bug you. I'm going to bring him on the show. It's ringing. There's no answer. Hello? No answer. It's weird. People get bugged, and but at the end of the day, yeah. So anyway, this chat was hello, hello. It's a lot of sniffing. Hello. Good God. God. Hello. I can hear somebody. Never mind, I'll carry on talking. So yeah, interestingly, he was whipping up this stuff, and it was bright, bright green. And he said, "Would you like some?" So I'm like, "Yeah, anything that's free." So I had a tiny little sip of it, and it was bright green, and it just blew my head off completely. It just like, it was like, I was expecting to start dripping out at any moment. It really had a really strong effect. And I didn't want to say anything to the guy because I thought he might then tell me, oh yeah, that's like really this, or something like that, or it really relaxes you. Or, yeah, that's going to make you feel really out of it. And I thought it's going to make me paranoid because I don't like feeling out of control. I like feeling grounded. I don't like taking things that are going to change my state of mind. I really don't. And I sort of got quite paranoid at the fact that here was this thing like sort of lighting up my mind, and I didn't really like it, so it didn't let on to the guy that it affected me. And he was talking away about it, saying about these oh, hello, hello, is anybody there? Sorry. um I can hear something. How weird. I think it's the chap that I brought on air, because when you bring someone on air, they don't actually go away, and I don't actually know how to even get rid of them, scarily. In fact, yeah, he's still there, but he doesn't realize he's on air, so I can hear his television in the background. So, oh God. Um, yeah. So anyway, he was talking to me about this tea, and they give it in Japan, and they give it for special occasions, and um, they give it, sorry, the guy's still bugging me. They give it for special occasions to people, and it's like a royal tea, blah de blah de blah, and it's um I can't remember now what he said, but he said his brother took it, but his brother didn't take it every day, and it's quite stimulating, and you only need a little bit. So anyway, I thought I'm not going to spend any more money. I'd already brought two different teas. So then gosh, I hope I'm still on air. I'm not sure if I am. And then so I went off to browse around town, and had it in my I still had it in my head about this Japanese bowl and the whisk and this like really weird green powder. And I started to feel a strong sense of well-being, just a strong sense of serenity. And all of a sudden, I didn't feel tired. And it's odd that I didn't realize that I was tired. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I just thought it was normal to feel knackered all the time because, after all, I had gotten up early. I thought, so if you get up early, it's sort of normal that you would feel knackered all day. But actually, that's not normal. And I all of a sudden felt really, it's a weird feeling. It's not like when I was younger, I've obviously snorted sulfates and stuff like that, and you get that sort of high. It wasn't like that, and it wasn't like caffeine where you kind of feel a bit jangly. it was a weird feeling. It's almost like a feeling of like when you're on holiday and you feel so kicked back and relaxed that F off. You feel so kicked back and relaxed that you start to feel energized. It's kind of like that feeling, but yet not that feeling. It's almost like as well if you eat something that makes you feel really strong, kind of like that. It's like weird. And I started to feel like that. And it was odd that when I did feel like that, my kind of mental malaise that I've had recently for quite a long time, actually, well, maybe not a long time, I moved house and I thought when I'd moved out of that particular neighborhood that I would feel better. And I have felt better, but I expected to feel fantastic, but I didn't feel fantastic. And then that bothered me. So I started to have a little bit of a negative malaise about that. And, I'd had this negative malaise. And I thought, why have I got a negative malaise? I should really think, that I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And, I don't need to feel negative about life. But I was sort of feeling a bit negative about life. But oddly, after I had this shot, then all of a sudden I felt like really kind of positive about everything. Oh my God. Hello? Hello? Oh no, I can't believe it. I might have to drop the studio and pick up the call again. Oh, just okay, I'm gonna drop the call and ring it again. Okay, hopefully I'm back on. I can still hear that in the background, but hopefully I'm back on air and you guys can hear me. I'm sorry about that. That's so annoying. People are just like, gosh, I've got a headache now. It's some chap in India, and I'm sure he's got a lot to share, but I need to, before I bring people on air, I need to speak to them and find out about them, etc., etc. Anyway, um, so there I was in this other shop, and all of a sudden I felt this feeling of well-being, and my sort of negativity disappeared, and I started to feel like really positive, which is really weird because I didn't realize I was feeling really negative, and I didn't realize that I was like super tired. I thought it was just kind of normal, but I must have been because all of a sudden I felt picked up and I felt yeah, a feeling of like my head turned around like positive. Anyway, so I started thinking about the Japanese pot, this little Japanese pot, and so I went back to the shop, T2, and I bought this big Japanese, it's like an urn thing. Oh, actually, it's beside me. Oh, isn't that exciting? It's beside me. Ooh, so I can pick it up and touch it and share. So it looks like something your kid would make in a pottery class, and it's bloody expensive. And it's like tiger skin, and it's smooth, and it's nice actually. It's Japanese according to T2. I'm sure they're not lying about that. And ceremonial, Japanese ceremonial. So I bought the little kit, and it has a bamboo whisk, and it has the matcha organic tea in it, which is like a powder. It's like very, very, very dark green powder. And it's also got a little bamboo like a spoon, but Japanese style spoon, a bit like a chopstick with a kind of hoop on the end, and you kind of pick it up using that. And so off I went with my little kit, and I thought, well, I'll try it in the morning. And it got to the following morning, and it was 6 a.m., which is when I get up, and it's really, really freezing. I picked a house in the countryside that has a lot of windows to it. And, when I looked at it, it was a warm day. And of course, it looked nice because you can see the forest and, ooh, this is nice. But on a winter time, it's not nice at all. It's horrid, actually, because, it's drafty, what you really want when it's icy, like it is now in the UK, is horrible. And what you need when it's icy is somewhere really, really cozy. You really need cozy. Oh God, you need cozy. Cozy isn't happening here. It's really bad. It's just so many windows, big tall windows and big French doors, and it's drafty like hell. And it's misery. And I don't leave the heaters on at night because I get dehydrated and dried out really quickly. So I get up and it's icy, it's freezing, it's miserable. And so I got up, went downstairs, thought, oh God, what is life for? And I saw the little box, the little green box. And so I got out my black pot and I thought, well, that kind of made me feel a bit trippy. Bit, that was strong yesterday. I'm quite wary of new things because I once took some Sudafed medication for my sinus problems, and it made me feel quite weirded out. And so I'm really, really weird about side effects. And someone just has to even say, "Oh, try some goji juice," and I Google goji juice side effects. I really am aware of side effects of things, and I don't like trying new things actually because I just don't want to feel weird in any way. And I suppose that's because I'm clinging onto the edge anyway. So I don't want someone to sort of unprise my fingers. So anyway, I looked at it and it was quite early and I sort of wanted my coffee. And then I remember that it did make me feel that kind of energy thing. So my computer looks like it's doing something weird. I think I'm on air. I hope I am. But wow, my computer is spinning. Um, I'm probably talking to myself. Never mind. So yeah, I thought, well, shall I have a coffee? And then I remembered the day before that it did make me feel lifted in some kind of way. So I thought, right, I'll try this stuff. After I did buy it, but I tried the most tiniest amount, really, on the end of the spatula. It was almost like when you use paprika and you just put your pinchers in and you get out a pinch of it. I just really used a pinch. Even then, I shook it again to get it off. And I thought, I'm being silly here. This is stupid because I put the boiling water into the bowl. I put cold water into the bowl and oh, somebody kindly has told me I'm on air. Okay, okay. Thank you. Yeah, so I put the tiniest bit in my bowl, really tiny. It was absurdly tiny, actually, but I am quite nervous about new things. And I whisked it with a little whisk. I turned it round 3 times and I wish myself good luck. Turned it another back 3 times and wish myself lots of money. And I brought it back upstairs and I drank it in bed, and it was weird because normally, you find out about new drinks that aren't coffee, and you drink it, and it's like that hot drink hot water in the morning with a bit of lemon in. Oh, really? It tastes like shit. And I just thought, oh, this is going to be like, oh yeah, hot water with lemon. It's just going to really like make me feel depressed. But the bowl is gorgeous. So I just thought this bowl is beautiful to hold in your hand. So I thought, well, because of the bowl, I'll give it a chance. So I went back to bed because it's so freezing. And I took a sip and it was just awesome. It kind of tasted like really clean. And I kind of took a one gulp and I thought, yeah. And something in me sort of said, drink it. And so I just kind of gulped it all down and it had a weird kind of feeling of, even though it was clear, and even though it made me feel very clean for drinking it, it felt nourishing, almost like when you have like a really excellent chicken soup. I'm going to name drop now because I used to hang around with Tom Hardy, you know, the film actor, Hollywood film actor. His mother, Anne, made me just an awesome chicken soup. She can really rock soups. And I had one in her kitchen and it was awesome. And it really made me feel, gosh, sturdy. And it was odd. This clear liquid, because it's just clear, and made me feel like I'd had a really thick, nourishing soup, like loads of thick, nourishing. It was just like, I couldn't believe it. And I just thought because I'd been hungry. And then after I drank it, I wasn't hungry at all. And it was quite odd. So I went and did the school run. And on that particular day, oh yes, on the particular day, I had to run around for my son. He was like, "Oh, I've forgotten a battery for my science project. Would you go and get it and then sort of leave it at reception?" And of course, the battery wasn't easy to get. You had to drive to two towns away, park up somewhere horrid and walk somewhere and then go to some miserable place and get this battery. So I did all that, and that took about an hour and a half. And then there was something else that I needed to do, which was really dreary. And normally by that time, it got to midday, and normally by that time, I'm feeling pretty like hell. And I noticed that I wasn't feeling like hell. And then I noticed that I was feeling really happy about life. And it was weird because I was doing really, really quite dreary things, but I was starting to feel quite excited in some kind of way. And I had to do a lot of running around on that day, masses, masses of running around. And normally after I've done about two or three chores, I think, no, 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 call it a day because I'm just wrecked here and I've got the evening to come. I've got to pick up my child. I've got to cook dinner. But I did even more chores. I was running around doing things that I'd been putting off, like, really dull things like driving to PC World, which is miles away. And it's boring going there and it's boring. Oh, my computer's broken. Look at it when and you've got to stand there for hours and you've got to talk to someone boring who fixes it. And I hate doing it. And I just put it off for like so long. And I thought, I know, I'll go to PC World. And so I went there and I just walked in, got my computer mended by a girl who was waiting. We had this great laugh and she was telling me about cloud. I know if you use cloud and this kind of thing. And I really enjoyed my time there. And I got out of PC World, sat in the car. I thought something weird is going on because I'm doing all these miserable, shitty things, and I'm really tired. I was really tired when I woke up this morning. But A, I'm not feeling tired. B, I'm feeling like really amazing, like my life is amazing. Three, I'm doing the most depressing things on earth. And I'm enjoying them. I'm enjoying interacting with the people. And then I started to think how fascinating life was and how amazing it was that you could just go into different shops and make friends with people. I'd made friends with this girl in PC World. I thought, isn't that amazing? And I sat in the car, like having a conversation with myself, like, I really enjoyed that. And isn't it great? And then I drove back into town and I started to notice things around me. I started to notice the trees and how fantastic it was that we had trees. And then I started to notice, which kind of flipped me out a little bit, that the traffic lights, the green in the traffic lights was really quite an amazing green. And then at that point, I started to feel a little bit scared just for a few minutes. And I thought that tea has done something to me. And it literally had, I just felt like super, super energized. I felt super energized and super positive. And it was just, and yet not artificially so. It felt as if it was just coming from me, which is a good feeling. And the positivity is weird. I thought perhaps I was feeling uber positive and uber excited about life because I wasn't tired. But no, seems this tea also does that to you. It's something to do with dopamine or something. I haven't researched it all that well because this has just recently happened to me. But it's linked with that anyway, dopamine or some shit like that. But I didn't realize I was low on dopamine or whatever. I don't know what dopamine means. So I'll have to look it up. But seemingly that matcha tea has an effect on that. And I just felt amazing. And then I passed this travel agent. I was just mooching really because I'd done all these chores and I was waiting for school pickup, which was like half an hour. And I was doing some other chorey things that one has to do. And I passed by a travel agent and I looked in, and it's weird because I don't know, maybe the tea has an effect on you so much that it makes you drawn to that part of the world. But I saw a little travel brochure on Asia and I went in, had another chat. I seemed to be being uber friendly on that particular day and got some brochures on Asia and sat in a cafe. And I was flicking through it and I was actually looking at these pictures. And there was one, um, gosh, the more I tell this story, the more I feel like it's like tripping out. But I wasn't tripping out. I felt, very grounded. Um, then I started flicking through this travel brochure and I saw some pictures. It was Cambodia. Now, normally I hate those kind of places, and I think, why would somebody go to Vietnam? Why would they go to Cambodia? How weird are they? And even if someone tells me they're going to those places, I kind of look at them and think, well, why are you going there? Are you trying to sound cool to your friends? Like, yeah, I can backpack to some pretty, but, quite a few people do it. But I looked at these pictures of Cambodia and I felt like bursting into tears because I thought, God, that place is so beautiful, so interesting people there, and yet I, have negated to open up to it. I've just like written it off, that part of the world, and I, just became really fascinated by this travel brochure, and I almost felt like crying because it was something that I had not opened up to, and it's a whole part of the world, and it's stunningly beautiful, absolutely stunningly beautiful, and I had just kind of rejected it. I mean, who does that? I just couldn't believe that I had done something like that, that I had rejected that whole part of the world, like, who goes there, kind of thing. It's just blissfully ignorant, and I just felt my mind opening to it, and I just thought, I want to go there, I want to see this. And I was flicking through this magazine thinking, I want to go there, I want to go there, and I got out a pen, I was ringing around places. And then what happened then? Yes, I went to pick my son up, and my son was like, oh, I want to go to this particular toy shop to get this particular toy that he'd been waiting for. And this particular toy shop is, I think it must be about 30 miles away in the opposite direction to where we live. And normally I'd be like, are you joking? No. And I have taken him there in the past on a weekend, but on that day, I said, yeah, let's go there. Oh, let's go there. Let's get that toy. And I actually drove all that way and felt positive and energized, still not feeling drained or not feeling tired or anything. I'm feeling amazingly positive. Gosh, it's strange. It's so strange for me. And I came home after the really. And another thing I noticed, this particular toy shop is down a very fast A road. Now, I don't do A roads, I hate them. God, I can't stand them. I try and stick on the B roads. I don't like the way everybody goes too fast. I like to stick to about 30. And of course, you get everyone driving past you. If they get behind you, they beep, and they get almost like they think I'm doing it deliberately to sort of screw with them. They get really quite angry with me, but I don't like driving fast. And I noticed that I was driving fast, and I was driving well, and I was enjoying driving. All the anxiety that I have around driving, like I constantly think that the car will, like the tires might hit the curb. And so I'm like driving quite tense And when people come up to junctions, I always think they're gonna forget themselves and just come straight out. So sometimes I beep the horn and they get angry about that. But all that anxiety around driving, all that, excuse me, one moment. Sorry about that. Back on air. Sorry about that. And so all the anxiety that I had around driving completely went, and that's when I started to think that that green little powder, that matcha, is like out of this world. What the hell is going on with that? What the hell is it? It's like I almost felt I was in that movie with Robert De Niro, Limitless. It had that kind of effect on my mind. It was like, what the hell? All my anxiety, any negativity out the window, everything. It was like I was a like great good version of myself. And so I came home. I think we got home about 8, and I still wasn't tired. I've been up since 6. And then I thought, well, what's going to happen? Am I going to be, God, that guy's still bugging me. So I thought, what's going to happen now? I thought, obviously, I'm going to feel like horrible at some point, and or I'm not going to be able to sleep. But I had this most amazing sleep that night. It was really full, and I woke up. And I thought, I know I'm going to have some more of that tea. And so I rushed downstairs, 6 o'clock, bounced out of bed to get my tea, and I had the same amount, just that tiny pinch, maybe even a smaller pinch. And I brought it upstairs, and again, I had the same day. So I don't think this stuff has any drawbacks to it, not at all. And amazingly, I have been having trouble with writing. I wrote when I stopped working for the Sun newspaper. I That was 2008, and I published in 2009. And then I had a gap. Then I published in 2011, and that book flopped. The second one flopped. First one was a Sunday Times bestseller, and second one flopped, and I was really quite upset because I assumed it would have the success of the other one, and it didn't. It just, I think it sold about 5,000 copies. The first one sold over 100,000 copies. So that 5,000 was a slap in the face, and I couldn't understand why that was, and I felt bad because I put in a lot of energy into it. And then I decided to write a novel, and it took 3 years to write the novel, and it got turned down by publishers. And it really kind of affected me weirdly because I just assumed that it would get picked up. And gosh, it did get picked up for a while. It got picked up by an agent called Robin Jones, and Robin Jones really liked it, and but he couldn't sell it to the big 8, as he calls it, the main one. And we nearly got a yes. One Macmillan, I think it was. They said, "Oh, she writes like a mixture of Martine. Who's that Martine? What's her name? I've forgotten the woman's name, even though I've actually met her. Martina Cole. That's it. Martina Cole and Linda LaPlante. But we've just taken somebody on who's like that. So sorry." So I had near misses, and there was quite a few of the others who liked it as well, but one didn't like the ending. She said the ending has to really snap like a trap, and her ending doesn't snap, but otherwise it's good. And so I sort of missed by the skin of my teeth, and didn't know what to do with it. And then I had an argument with Robin. Sadly, it was my fault. He wanted to have a break and then look at it again. I said no, plow on, and he didn't want to. He said I need a couple of months to rethink, and then we should work on it in some, but I didn't, and so we went our separate ways. So I was feeling pretty bad, and then I spent another 2 years writing about the phone hacking scandal because I was going to be a witness at the trial. And then I got dropped as a witness when Greg Miskew pleaded guilty. So that was weird because I knew then no one would read it. And indeed, I did my first self-published book, and self-publishing doesn't work. Well, it's worked for some people, it didn't work for me. It didn't sell, it doesn't sell, and so you need a publisher to put it in the shops. It doesn't, all that online stuff. It didn't work for me. So I felt really bad that I'd spent that 5 years then writing, literally really working very, very, very hard indeed, and had spent the money I'd made from the first book, spent all my savings, and ended up pretty in a really bad space actually, with nothing. And I don't have any assets. I live in rented. So I just had nothing. I was on the floor, and it felt weird to be my age and be on the floor. And so that felt bad. And I think I haven't really been able to get over it. And I think I haven't been able to find a direction. I think that failure, especially around the time I got a troll, and the troll pretty much stalked me all over the place. And I just, because the troll started on Amazon, it affected. I just thought, what's the point in writing if this is what you're going to do? This is what's going to happen. You'll get a troll who says really vile. This person was really good at saying really nasty, nasty things, and not just to me, to everyone. And pretty despicable. And it just kind of thought, I suppose it's Amazon, but Amazon shouldn't allow it. They do allow it because they have anonymous posting. I just thought, I didn't want to do that. What do I do? Write another book, and it gets put in Amazon, and then I get this person coming at me. I mean, what's the point? And it just put me off writing. I just didn't want to write. I thought, I don't want to write anymore. And I was in that position of not knowing what to do. And just the other day when I took the tea, I came home here, and it was on the second day of taking it, and which is yesterday. Was it? Yeah, yesterday. And I looked out the window, and I saw the forest, and I started to have a story come up in my mind about a woman's had a divorce, moved into a countryside place, and it started to form in my mind. And I thought, I've got a novel, and I meant to write it down. Actually, I didn't write it down, but I meant to write it down, and I just felt like excited that I could invent stories, and I still have that gift. It has just gone to sleep, and the matcha tea brought it back to life, which is pretty amazing, really. And it stayed with me. It's not like, I mean, that tea isn't cheap shit. It stayed with me. The feeling, that knowledge, that I've got that ability, and that excitement around creating a project, that excitement around creating characters, and just doing it for me, really, not really thinking, oh, which publisher will take this one, and will that be a good seller? Just because I love creating, and just to do it, even you just put it on Facebook, just to create and to have the characters. And that the matcha gave me that. So it's amazing, absolutely, absolutely amazing stuff. And I haven't I haven't actually had time to research it or to look into it in any way, shape, or form. So I just realized I'm coming to the hour, and normally, if I haven't got a guest, and sometimes I leave the show for an hour, but I know Hawk doesn't like that, so I will carry on for an hour. But if you are getting bored with me, then do feel free to turn off. Do feel free to go. I have talked quite a long time about the tea, so let me Google it. So I'll discover with you guys, what the hell is this stuff. I spoke to a friend of mine this morning who was like, oh, I don't think you should take that LSD tea. I mean, it's not it's not LSD. It hasn't got a WikiLeaks No, not WikiLeaks. It hasn't got a Wikipedia about it. Mm, oh, okay. Oh, okay. The Telegraph have done a article about it. So let's read what they say. Okay, matcha. Is this cold green tea really that good for you? And that is probably written a while ago. I'm always behind the times. It's a year ago. I'm discovering a year later, but I don't care. I'm discovering it my way, so I don't care what everyone else thinks. Okay, this is by Sue Quinn. The world seems to have gone bonkers for matcha, putting it in everything from lattes to brownies. We reveal if it's really worth joining the party. God, I think it's probably something that just affects certain people and you can't really force the bloody thing. But okay, the world seems to be obsessed with matcha. Beautiful people are knocking back shots of it at fashion shows. Gwyneth and her tribe are toting jars of it to yoga classes. Cafes are serving it in lattes, and chefs are turning it into everything from soup to brownies. Japan's most revered form of green tea has now become a must have ingredients for the wellness set. But what's the truth behind the health claims? Here's what you need to know if you want to join the party. Oh, did I just read that? Oh, that's kind of bad journalism. Do you want to join the party? Do you want to join the party? And she's already said that. Jeez, how'd she get a job on the Telegraph? Okay, carrying on. What is matcha? Matcha is a stone ground powdered green tea used in traditional Japanese tea ceremonies. According to the 8th century Zen priest Eisai, spelled Eisai, who introduced the tea to Japan, matcha is the ultimate mental and medical remedy and has the ability to make one's life more full and complete. I'm so excited now because it actually did that to mine. Um, and I've just started on it. What are the health benefits? Matcha. Oh, hang on. Like she's just dropped a bomb there with somebody saying that it's the ultimate remedy and able to make one's life more full and complete, and yet hasn't carried that, hasn't really expanded on that. She's gone on then to talk about minerals and vitamins. Well, how about the more deep stuff? There doesn't seem to be. I did Google it before. There doesn't seem to be anything deeper, which is like there must be something out there. And I did actually go back today. I worked hard for you listeners. I went back today to T2 shop in Kingston and to find the manager who knows so much about tea, knows so much about this tea, and he wasn't allowed to come on until he got permission from T2. So that's unfortunate. He said maybe next week, but I'm not sure if I can do a whole show about the tea again. But he's a great guy. So if you're passing T2 in Kingston, go in and ask for him. Do I know his name? No. But he was impressive. He would know this. So it's a shame he's not here. Okay, matcha contains small amount of various vitamins and minerals, but is most prized for being rich in polyphenol compounds called catechins, a type of antioxidant. Because matcha is made from ground up whole tea leaves, it is a more potent source of catechins than standard green tea, which is consumed as an infusion and the leaves discarded. One study found that matcha contains 3 times more of the catechins called epigalacticin gallate, EECG, an antioxidant linked to fighting cancer, viruses, and heart disease, than other kinds of standard green tea. Various studies suggest that these catechins might confer health benefits. Catechins. So what are they? So it's most prized for being rich in polyphenol compounds, and they're called catechisms. So it's a polyphenol compound, which I think, these oh yeah, these catechins are it's got a special catechin called epigalacticin gallate. So it's super antioxidants. That's weird, isn't it? I didn't even know when people talk about antioxidants, like just go to sleep. So I think, oh, what? what you're on about, you know? Okay. Various studies suggest that these catechins might confer health benefits, although the evidence is inconclusive. According to the National Cancer Institute of the US, more than 50 epidemiological studies looking at tea consumption and cancer risk have been published. The results of these studies have often been inconsistent, but some have linked tea consumption to reduced risks of cancer of the colon, breast, ovary, prostate, and lung. Another study published in American Journal of Clinical suggests matcha might be linked to weight loss. That's interesting because which I meant to share, but I forgot. That I'm a sugar addict, and through the day with my coffee in the morning, I'll have a sugar. With all the others, I will have sugars, and then I will have something sugary at 11, and then sugary at 2, and then definitely sugary in the evening. And on the days, and it's only been 2 days, when I had the magic powder, I'm not going to call it matcha tea anymore, I call it magic powder. When I had that, I didn't feel like sugar. I just thought, nah, because your body feels so super clean from it in some kind of weird way that you just think, oh, it's dirty. So you don't want to eat anything dirty. I normally like desserts, and I like all kinds of shit, I have to say. But I didn't want to eat anything dirty. I had a stir fry, and I wanted to have a stir fry last night as well. And I had only a small amount of stir fry. It just makes you not hungry. And all that cravey, sugary cravey that I tend to have nearly all the time. I actually thought worryingly the other day that I tend to think of food quite a lot in the sort of like maybe about midday. I can start thinking, what am I going to have for dinner tonight? And which I don't like myself because it's kind of beneath me to work in that way. It's kind of horrible to find myself thinking that, even if, oh, well, you're going to plan something nice, you're going to cook something nice. Yeah, great, but it's horrible. I want to use my mind for something else, not slapping my chops. I mean, it's degrading. And the matcha powder, took away that thought, that craving. God knows how it did it. And I had this small amount of stir fry. Normally, I don't have stir fries because I think they're annoying. And I had one, and if I do have them, I will put in shitloads of noodles. And I just I didn't. The one I made, I didn't put any noodles in. It was just pure greens, and yeah, and I didn't feel like anything else after it, and I didn't feel that oral hunger as well that I always get. I just get totally, especially in the evening, a really, really strong oral thing. Like, I've had my dinner now. Oh, what do I have now? Oh, pudding. Oh, after pudding, I need something to suck on, maybe sweets. And it's terrible to have that sort of, and I will eat fruit to sort of get rid of that oral kind of craving, but I don't want to have it. And after as soon as I had the tea, and we're talking about, I just had a small sprinkle of it, a pinch in the morning. I didn't touch it. After that, just one pinch in a load of water. So we're talking tiny, tiny, tiny. All day. I didn't go near it after that. For the whole day, I did not want to be bothered with eating in the way I normally eat. Yes, I did feel hungry, but it was hungry in a different way. It wasn't like a kind of, my hunger is normally a sort of crave. It wasn't a crave. It was just oh, I should eat, a bit hungry. And it was kind of hungry in a different way. Like you want to eat something good. And after I'd eaten a very small amount of stir fry, I didn't want to eat after that, and I didn't have any of the oral cravings, no sugar cravings at all. I just felt really, really replete, which is really odd for me. And I was watching Celebrity Big Brother, and everyone was eating and drinking on there, and I just didn't feel. I just felt, completely serene, and didn't want or need anything, and went to bed again, sleeping fine. So saying it's linked to weight loss, I would say, yeah, it, of course, because you just don't want to eat, for God's sake. Okay, going back to her report here, researchers concluding that a daily cup of the green stuff might be useful in the prevention and improvement of lifestyle-related diseases. Oh, okay, cool. Other clinical tests suggest matcha can speed physical recovery after workouts, promote cell strength, and boost immunity with only a small amount of caffeine, 24 to 39 milligrams per cup. Matcha fans say it delivers a feeling of calm alertness. Yeah, it does. It does. It's calm alertness, which is weird because if you think calm, you think, ooh, tired, or certainly laid back and not alert. But I felt calm and alert. And I noticed that when I was driving, actually, my driving was superb. And my driving is good. I'm just crippled with a kind of pathetic neurosis around, ooh, can't have an accident, which I used to bomb around in a Lotus, but it's ever since becoming a mother, and because I'm a single mother, and if something happens to me, then I worry about what will happen to my son. So when I'm driving, I'm very conscious of I mustn't have an accident. I mustn't get whiplash. That will put me out of action. Then who will take care of my son? So it's really just that fear. And so I'm aware that when I'm in a car, somebody might, hit me. So it's ruined driving for me. But on that, since taking the tea, I have the calm alertness, and I'm just driving, brilliantly. I'm so calm and alert that I know I'm not going to have an accident because I'm just alert. It's a bit like being in that Limitless movie. If anybody's seen the movie, which doesn't seem to be around anymore because of that series that I haven't seen, but the one with Robert De Niro doesn't seem to be out. But when he took it, he was very clever. He was very switched on. I felt like that. And that's amazing that it can do that, with none of the jitters that can come with coffee, which is great. She's kind of playing it down. She hasn't had my experience of it, I suppose. But I mean, if I was going to write about it, I suppose I would, might sound a bit like far out, but I mean, it's just the way, it's just experience, isn't it? Matcha brownies are probably not a health food. The National Cancer Institute points out that any potential health benefits depend on how matcha is prepared and consumed. It says that although iced and ready to drink matcha and other teas are becoming more popular, they don't contain the same amount of key nutrients as brewed tea. And the addition of other ingredients dilutes the benefits further. Yeah, I think you've got to have it alone in the hot water. This means that matcha lattes, smoothies, and brownies are nowhere near as healthful as a cup of properly brewed tea. That said, many people find the distinctive green tea is delicious. Oh God. Oh, who don't like her style of writing? She's kind of making it out to be just some, fad. Um, it's a bad article, isn't it? Anyway, I'll just go down, see it might get better towards the end. Rob Cummins, owner of the Dorset-based fine tea merchant Commons, confirms a surge in interest in matcha over the past few years. He doesn't mind that customers enjoy his matcha ice cream as much as the tea because he believes food is a good. Oh, it promotes awareness of matcha in its pure form and evokes an interest in Japanese green tea as a whole. People often go on to explore this category of tea in more detail. He urges consumers to make sure they buy high-quality matcha made from tea grown in rural areas, as plants exposed to pollution can absorb lead. That's interesting because the one I got from T2 is organic, so I'm going to stick there. It says £12, £35 for 40 grams. It's not super cheap, this stuff. Okay. Compared to 550, the same amount of culinary grade matcha. Okay, so the stuff I've brought is the superior stuff, obviously. So I'm quite glad I've started off on the superior stuff, or I might have tried the lower and just thought, oh yeah, it's not bad, but not really had this experience. To prepare matcha the traditional Japanese way, measure the tea into a heated tea bowl, chawan, and with a bent bamboo spoon, chashiku, add hot but not boiling water, then whisk to a froth using a special bamboo whisk, chasan. Cummins says the last step is what gives the matcha its smooth and silky consistency, and he would love it if more people opted to make their tea this way. Well, don't worry, darling, I'm making mine that way. High quality tea is much about the ceremony itself, the act of taking a seat. Oh, God. Oh, God, that was crap. Okay, that's really That's really bad. It's appalling. Let me see if I can find something deeper. I don't think so. I think you'd have to go and speak to. So what a shame that we didn't get that guy who knows his stuff, because he um, he is he was just really interesting. He really knew his stuff, and he really spoke about it in an interesting way. And he really, I suppose, is in the right job for him. You know your stuff, but knowing about it spiritually, because I think he was mentioned it's linked to Buddhism, and spoke about the spiritual connection here. There is a spiritual connection. I'm going to try and find it, but I might not be able to. So we're going to do it together now, because I haven't planned this show. I really am doing it just to share, just to share my experience of what went on today, what went on in the last couple of days for me, and I did mention it on Facebook, and a few people said, "Oh, where do I get it from?" So I thought, well, I will share it far and wide, because a lot of people might be helped by this, because, you know, it's horrible to go through your days feeling negative, especially when you've got the winter thing, and I do suffer from that sad thing, SAD. I do get it, but I haven't got it, haven't had it from the last 2 days, because of the matcha. And I think it can benefit a lot of people if they know about this, and stop those dreadful sugar cravings and that dreadful thinking about what you're going to cook for dinner at 12 o'clock. I mean, God, come on. I remember Oprah Winfrey sharing that she thought about what she was going to eat first thing in the morning, and I thought, yeah, I don't like being like that. And I don't like finishing everything on my plate. And I noticed when I had the matcha that I just wanted to eat until I felt full, and I just left the rest, even though I'd made a small portion. And it's amazing. It's magic stuff, really. It's and to have my interest in writing novels kicked off again after just losing it completely and thinking I'm going to do something else in my life. And even I had an old friend of mine, an ex-boyfriend, Ray, who was like saying to me, "You've spent your whole life." He's known me since I was 19. He says, "You spent your whole life, being a writer, thinking about writing, and, you love it." He said, "Why give up now? Just, write a love story, or write something more that people like, not, mind control and stuff like that. Write a love story." And I thought, yeah, I can write a love story. I can write something that people will like, something with mass appeal, to just, you know, get known more as a novelist, and then you come in with the other stuff. So yeah, I mean, what amazing stuff. So anyway, I've got Wikipedia here with it, so I'm gonna read that now. And I'm sorry the show is patchy and not smooth, and we haven't got a guest. So just turn off if you're not enjoying it. That's okay. Don't worry. But I'm just going to read this now. Okay, matcha, pronounced matcha. I've probably been saying it wrong all this bloody broadcast. Matcha. Okay. Is finely ground powder of specially grown and processed green tea. It is special in two aspects of farming and processing. The green tea plants for matcha are shade grown for about 3 weeks before harvest, and the stems and veins are removed in processing. During shaded growth, the plant Camellia sinensis produces more theanine and caffeine. This combination of chemicals is considered to account for the calm energy people might feel, I do, hands up at the front here, might feel from drinking matcha. The powdered form matcha is consumed differently from tea leaves or tea bags, and is dissolved in a liquid, typically water or milk. The traditional Chinese and Japanese tea ceremony centers on the preparation, serving, and drinking of matcha as hot tea, and embodies a meditative spiritual style. In modern times, matcha also has come to be used to flavor and dye foods such as mochi and soba noodles, green tea, ice cream, matcha. Oh, okay. Often the former is referred to as ceremonial grade matcha, meaning that the matcha powder is good enough for tea ceremony. I think I brought ceremony grade I'm pretty sure about that because I bought it with the bowl and the whisk. But I will have to check that. But I'm pretty sure I bought ceremonial grade. Just to let everybody know listening who wants to get it, the I got it from T2 and I got it with the bowl and the whisk and the 30-gram tin of it comes in it and it's organic matcha. So whether that is ceremonial grade or not, I suppose T2 will know. But it just says on it organic. So that is the one that I've recommended. And I think you can buy it without the bowl, and I think it's about £20. Whether it's ceremonial, I don't know. You have to ask them. It just says organic on it. Okay, going back here. Blends of matcha are given poetic names known as charme tea names, either by the producing plantation shop or creator of the blend, or by the grand master of a particular tea tradition. When a blend is named by the grand master of a tea ceremony lineage, it becomes known as the master's konomi or a butcher block of leaf. Okay, I didn't understand a word of that, but I'll read on. Okay. History. In Tang Dynasty, China, tea leaves were steamed and formed into tea bricks for storage and trade. The tea was the tea was prepared by roasting and pulverizing the tea and decocting the result tea powder in hot water, then adding salt. In the Song Dynasty, the method of making powdered tea from steam prepared dry tea leaves and preparing the beverage by whipping the tea powder and hot water in a bowl became popular. Preparation and consumption of powdered tea was formed into a ritual by Zen Buddhists. Oh, okay. The earliest extant Shan monastic code entitled Chan Wan Qingui, Rules of Purity for the Chan Monastery in 1103, describes in detail the etiquette for tea ceremonies. Zen Buddhism and the Chinese methods of preparing powdered tea were brought to Japan in 1191 by the monk Eisai. So he was a monk who brought it in. I think it must have a spiritual something that makes you feel that good in such a natural way, where it doesn't feel artificial, and also, brings you things and just positivity. Must be spiritual, must be. Okay, so it was brought into the world brought to Japan even by a monk called Eisai, Eisai. Although powdered tea has not been popular in China for some time, now there is a global resurgence in matcha tea, including in China. In Japan, it continued to be an important item only at Zen monasteries and became highly appreciated by others in the upper echelons of society during the 14th through 16th century. So the Zen monasteries knocked it back. Well, that's why, oh my God, that's why they look so happy. That's why they look so happy in pictures when you see them, because they're all drinking matcha tea, of course. Yeah, just drinking it and walking around and looking up, going, yeah, God, it's great. Okay, so that's how they achieve that one. I always wondered, I thought, God, aren't they bored, or don't they feel like, eating a cream cake? No, they don't. They're zoning out on that magical green stuff. They've got their secret. Okay, production. Matcha is made from shade-grown tea leaves that are also used to make gai or koro. The preparation of matcha starts several weeks before harvest and may last up to 20 days when the tea bushes are covered to prevent direct sunlight. This slows down growth, stimulates an increase in chlorophyll levels. See, chlorophyll as well is something that people have been eating lately is good for the body, turns the leaves a darker shade of green and causes the production of amino acids, in particular theanine. I'm going to look into the effects of theanine. Okay, reading on, only the finest tea buds are handpicked. After harvesting, if the leaves are rolled out before drying, as in the production of sencha, the result will be Gayokoro, jade dew tea. Isn't that lovely? Jade dew. Wow, lovely name. If the leaves are laid out flat to dry, however, they will crumble somewhat and become known as tencha. Then tencha may be deveined, destemmed, and stone ground to the fine, bright green talc-like powder known as matcha. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? So, going back. So these tea leaves are grown in the shade. Huh, that's interesting. And the finest buds are picked and they're rolled out, as in the production of sencha. I wonder what sencha is. Is that another tea? Probably. And the result will be jade dew tea. So it's a different tea. However, they crumble and become known as tencha. Tencha must be a tea as well, presumably. Then tencha may be deveined, destemmed, and stone ground. Then it becomes matcha. So obviously they've got all this stuff going on. Why have they got that going on? Why have they got that going on? We haven't got that going on. It's interesting. Grind it, but they're over there. They're more because they've got the Buddhism. We have got, oh God, our religions are just so lacking in spirituality. I'm a Catholic, and they've just taken the supernatural out of it. They just lifted it out. But the priests have it for themselves. I went and trained in a monastery. Didn't train. Yeah, I did train. I trained to pray. It was a course. You paid £300. You went to Catholic seminary with a Jesuit, Father Michael Barrow, and I was the only girl there actually with a load of priests who were going on to be priests. And it was in the seminary, and but it's all supernatural. Then they teach you how to bring on visionary experiences by reading the Bible. So they do it, but they don't give it to the public. So they keep it to themselves. So it's kind of crafty. But in these other countries, it's very more about that higher consciousness, about clearing your consciousness, about attaching that, about not living so much in the 3D. Here in the Western world, we're just concerned with house prices, house prices, house prices, and things. We're just consumers like crazy. Like, even that craving for me for like sugar, that's consuming, and people think, oh, I've got to have the latest TV, got to have this, got to have that, got the biggest house, got to look better than that person over there, the nicest car. And it's like we're kind of diseased in that way. Over there, they're purer, and they obviously have these things to help keep them pure. But here we're eating bread, which is full of like weird stuff they're putting into it, like what do they call it? That grow stuff, that fertilizer that we shouldn't be, Roundup and all sorts of shit, and we're eating it, and we're becoming more and more materialistic, more and more sort of almost as if we're in a one-dimensional. It feels like, it doesn't feel like 3D, it feels like 1D. We're getting more and more like that, more and more sucked into it. And milk has got pus in it and drugs in it, so we're like zombies walking around like one-dimensional zombies. And of course over in Japan and places and these Asian countries, they're all like, oh yeah, in these Zen monasteries, of course they're not eating bread and cow milk, they're drinking bloody matcha tea, for God's sake. So they're having a more spiritual life, more spiritual experience, more positive, while we're feeling like shit. And why we're feeling like shit? Because we've got white sugar, we've got bread with filth in, we've got milk with filth in, and we're just having horrible lives where we're in bed all the time. And when we're out of bed, we're looking for a cream cake or a bloody new car or the latest video, or we're like leading zombie lifestyles basically. Even rejection of the whole of Cambodia and Vietnam. What's wrong with, oh no, don't go to those countries. And what's wrong with me? But that's probably because my mind is full of bread, probably bread head or something, or cow milk head. So that's going to be changed now I've caught on. Reading on, grinding the leaves is a slow process because the millstones must not get too warm, lest the aroma of the leaves is altered. It may take up to 1 hour to grind 30 grams of matcha. I feel like going out there and watching them make this stuff. The flavor of matcha is dominated by its amino acids. The highest grades of matcha have more intense sweetness and deeper flavor than the standard or coarser grade of the tea harvested later in the year. Now, I wonder where the place just tea to get this from. I have to research that to make sure. Maybe there's even higher grades. I can get down my gullet. I'm quite excited actually. The highest grade, so I'm guessing that they're really, really mega bucks. But when it comes to cleaning your mind and your system, hey, with this stuff, I mean, for God's sake, it's like manna from heaven. In general, matcha is expensive compared to other forms. Oh, its price depends on its quality. Its price depends on its quality. Grades of matcha are defined by many factors. Okay, what factors? Because they're not telling us. Oh, hang on. Yeah, here we are. These are what is defined by. I wonder if I had low grade or what, or high grade. I don't know, actually, is the answer. I'll have to research that. Location on the tea bush, where leaves destined for tension are packed on the tea bush. Camellia sinensis is vital. The very top should have developing leaves that are soft and supple. This gives a finer texture to higher grades of matcha. More developed leaves are harder, giving lower grades a sandy texture. The better flavor is a result of the plant sending the majority of its nutrients to the growing leaves. This is really manna from heaven. This is natural God-given stuff. It's given to us from God. It's like, I bang on about flower essences where God-given roses that you suck put the essence in the water, you get them, you put it into your body, it puts your body back on default setting. All the negativity you have put into you, drinking rose essence puts it back to default settings. This too, this matcha is cleaner. She's a high power one because it seems like it's going into the different consciousness, and really, this is magical. It's magical stuff. Yes, it's magical. You should thank God for it. Absolutely amazing. Okay, so going down, this is about the different qualities and the different grades, okay, and the grades are dependent on treatment before processing. Traditionally, tencha leaves are dried outside in the shade and never are exposed to direct sunlight. However, now drying mostly has moved indoors. And interesting, people, this is the Zen monks that started doing this shit. So it was the Zen monks that made this tea, okay? So it was they who decided the location on the tea, they who decided the treatment for processing, they who decided the stone grinding, and they who decided the oxidation. So it's they who have given us that, they who have made this stuff, and we should all be on it, for God's sake. Okay, reading down. Just going now to traditional preparation, there are two main ways of preparing matcha, thick and thin. Prior to use, matcha often is forced through a sieve in order to break up clumps. There are special sieves available for this purpose, which usually are stainless steel and combine a fine wire mesh sieve and a temporary storage container. A wooden spatula is used to force the tea through the sieve, or a small smooth stone may be placed on top of the sieve and the device shaken gently. If sieved matcha is to be served at a Japanese tea ceremony, then it will be placed in a small tea caddy known as a chaki. Otherwise, it is tipped directly from the sieve into a tea bowl. About 2 to 4 grams of matcha is placed into the bowl, traditionally using the bamboos. Okay, this is what we know anyway. It's weird, they're saying that tea should use 1.5 grams. Matching to 1.5, about half a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon to 75 mils of water. 75 mils, about that much. So I've used a lot more water for mine and a lot less of the matcha. I didn't even use it. I used a pinch, just literally a pinch. How amazing is that? Other uses. It is used in Castella, Manju, and Monaco as a topping. Okay. Yeah, they use it. They put it in their they put it in their food as well. Crafty, aren't they? Out there? The use of matcha in modern drinks has spread to North America. Okay, going down. I think let's have a look. Zen Buddhist, Zen side. Okay. I'm going to Zen book reviews, the Zen sightsee. Oh, computer's not working. Origins of the Buddhist. Okay, let's link that in. So let's. Oh, I've gone to the page of the Zen site, Zen Books Reviewed, the origins of Buddhist monastic codes in China. They've linked that in with matcha, but I'm trying then to look down and see. I'm quite good at skim reading, so I can. Oh, okay, it's not mentioned at all. Mentioned in tea ceremonies. It doesn't mention much, but it says the tea. So monastic life for these Zen a long time ago in China revolved around tea. Oh my God, they were just drinking it and like just becoming serene and why am I thinking they're crafty? It's like it was out there. I just didn't know about it. But it's like, in fact, everybody knew about this a year ago. I'm just like, I didn't, and so it's like I'm quite excited. No point me saying, "Oh, they're being sneaky. I didn't know about it," but I do feel as if someone's been sneaky somewhere. I wonder if I can. I wonder if I can come out of there and do a different search and try and find out the spiritual connections. There must be something. Okay, let me type in matcha tea. How do you spell spirit? Spiritual capitals. Zen. Okay. Now, this should bring up something I was reading rather than that telegraph. No, there's nothing. It's just, gosh, that's annoying. It's just, oh, someone's done a piece, Meditations with Tea. How dare they? It's just like, oh, okay, it's not proper, is it? It's not quite what I was looking for. Okay, let's look at the Americans. The Americans always do it better than we do. They do, they do, they do. It's written by I believe an American lady. I can't tell now by her name, but it's in the Huffington Post. So let's go down. Matcha, get it while it's hot. A 2016 lifestyle trend. Okay, I'm not that far behind the times anyway. Oh, she's got the bamboo and the oh, that's nice. An interior. I'll read her article, which I think is much better than the English girl's article. Okay. As an interior designer and fashion institute instructor, I love keeping an eye on the hottest upcoming trends, be it design, decor, health, or lifestyle trends. And while matcha green tea and its fabulous ceremonial accessories have been recently named an interior design trend for 2016, I'm predicting matcha will transcend both the health and design industries to become a lifestyle trend this year and beyond. Here is why. Not only does matcha outmatch all other teas in terms of its physical health benefits, but from a lifestyle standpoint, the matcha experience also facilitates mental well-being through its emphasis on meditation and spirituality. Good girl. When I asked foremost tea expert and author James Norwood Pratt why matcha is becoming increasingly popular in Western culture. He summed up the physical and metaphysical attributes of the tea this way. Matcha is unique not only for its healthfulness and flavor, but because it combines, for Americans, the contradictory attributes of novelty and tradition. Has he gone off the bloody point? She was making good points and he's butted in with, yeah, it's pretty trendy, isn't it? Oh, God. Oh. Okay, anyway, back to her, thank God. To fully understand the physical benefits of this powdered powerhouse, it's important to understand the difference between matcha tea and regular green tea, the kind you steep in hot water. Both come from the same plant, Camellia sinensis, the plant all tea comes from. Does it? I didn't know that. However, the difference lies in the way the leaves are processed and how we drink them. The word matcha actually means ground or powdered tea. I'm going to go back and give this girl a shout out. I'm going to go back to find out her name. Christy Carmel Lopez. That's why I thought I didn't know I was going to call her American, but I don't know if she's American or not now. Okay. To fully understand, it's important to say, okay, Camellia sinensis, the plant all tea comes from. However, the difference lies in the way the leaves are processed and how we drink them. The word matcha actually means ground or powdered tea, which sets it apart from tea that is simply infused in water. When drinking matcha, the actual leaves are ingested, which is one reason why the nutritional value of matcha is far greater than that of all other teas, including green tea. That's interesting. So the leaves are eaten. That's interesting, isn't it? I'm thinking of peyote that the native Indians would eat. I don't know anything about that, but isn't this maybe similar? I suppose why everybody's not going on about the spiritual benefits is because maybe it doesn't reach everyone because our bodies are so bunged up with the with the other stuff. I think probably if I had just tried that and not back coffees, I wouldn't have noticed so much. And if I'd have drunk alcohol, I wouldn't have. But I'm pretty tuned into what's going on with me, really mega tuned in to it. So on the more sensitive person, it would probably have a massive impact. And then if everybody else stopped drinking and stopped drinking the coffee and the alcohol and smoking, then it would hit them in the same way. I mean, there could actually be a matcha revolution. So anyway, moving on. When drinking matcha, the leaves are ingested, which is one reason why the nutritional value of matcha is far greater than that of all other tea, including green tea. And although some vendors claim matcha has 137 times more antioxidants, whoa, I don't really know what antioxidant is or what good it does, but it sounds good. Then brewed green tea, a more conservative and probably more accurate estimate is 3 times as much. So what else makes Japanese matcha superior to its leafy green counterparts? Another distinguishing characteristic is matcha shade grown for several weeks for harvesting, which results in higher levels of chlorophyll and the amino acid, theanine. More on this later. She is what's known as a bloody good journalist. I shall join her on Facebook. I love her to bits. She's covering everything, isn't she? She's going in depth. It's not like, like the other girls was, very frothy. She's asked an expert, but the expert again hasn't come up with much. But she's gone on herself and done her own research, and yeah, it's good. The best leaves, usually those at the top of the tea bush, are handpicked and steamed as opposed to rolled and pan-fired. A gentler process that keeps more of the healthy phytonutrients in the plant cell wall intact. Steaming halts the oxidation process, resulting in matcha's vibrant green hue. The leaves are then air-dried. They're not heated or sun-dried because that would cause further oxidation. It's interesting because oxidation is that what our bodies suffer from when they decay. It's interesting as well. Some face creams have green tea in them. I've noticed one Christian Dior a long time ago Iconi. Kristen Jules Iconi had green tea. It's quite soothing ingredient for skin. Finally, the veins and steams are removed and the remainder. We know this from before. Phew, this painstaking process explains why the price of matcha is often several times that of other teas. As a result of this meticulous process, what ends up in our cup is a drink packed with antioxidants and phytophenols that can help protect against heart disease and cancer, help regulate blood sugar, help reduce cholesterol and blood pressure, help detoxify and boost metabolism, and get this, even help prevent aging. Yeah, I thought so, because if it's okay, yeah, right. You all knew this, listeners. I didn't know it. What's more, not only does matcha help boost your health, it also boosts your energy. Like all green tea, matcha naturally contains caffeine, which can enhance your mood and concentrate. But matcha is unique in that it also relaxes your body and keeps you calm. Oh, now I'm getting it. I'm quite calm. That is my driving, where I've got anxiety around driving. My anxiety went bang, just went out the window. I just didn't have it anymore. So that's, I mean, why aren't they giving this goddamn tea to people that are suffering anxiety? Why, when people are suffering anxiety, are they put on some dirty little tablet with millions of side effects? And why people that are suffering depression, why aren't they given it as a trial? Why are they put on filthy Prozac, which is disgusting? With masses of side effects. And of course, how can you possibly get off that stuff when you've been hooked on it, you know? Remember that L-theanine I mentioned, remember that theanine that I mentioned earlier? Well, it's the reason matcha was a drink of choice for the 12th century Buddhist monks. Theanine is associated with a feeling of alert calm, which comes in handy during spiritual meditation. This rare amino acid creates alpha waves in the brain as opposed to beta waves, which can result in stress and anxiety, and promotes a state of relaxation. Isn't that interesting? I wonder if it has an effect more on people that have had that interference in their waves, brain waves, and beta waves and alpha waves. I wonder, I wonder if that has an effect on people that have had theirs interfered with. That is interesting, like in abuse and all kinds of different programming and that kind of stuff. That is so interesting. I'll read that again, okay? I'll read that again. Remember that theanine I mentioned earlier? Well, it's the reason matcha was the drink of choice for 12th century Buddhist monks. Did you hear that, everyone? Theanine is associated with a feeling of alert calm, which comes in handy during meditation. No shit. That's why the traffic lights, when they went green, I was like looking at it thinking, whoa, that's so beautiful. Just, whew, it was a beautiful green. But I didn't stop there. I was alert. I was going, but I was looking. It's just amazing. It's like that film Limitless. Okay, this rare amino acid creates alpha waves in the brain as opposed to beta waves, which can result in stress. I didn't have any stress that day when I was running around doing things. I'm normally majorly stressed. Even going into PC World, when I think, oh, my laptop's broken, but they're not going to fix it. They're not going to fix it. It must go around everybody's head when they go in PC World that they're going to take it. They're going to say, oh, that'll be 80 quid, please. And you're not going to see your laptop for 2 weeks. Or what do you do without it, So all that was going through my head. And I was quite tense when the girl took it round. And then I just thought, no, it's fine. Everything's fine. And it was fine. She helped me. We were chatting. And it was just such an enjoyable experience. So that is the alpha waves are going on instead of the beta waves that are the bad guys, presumably. Get out of my head. Beta waves, I don't want you. And the beta waves, which can result in stress and the alpha waves, which promote a state of relaxation. Yeah. Essentially balancing the caffeine by inhibiting its negative side effects. While all tea contains theanine, it's helpful to remember that because matcha involves consuming the actual leaf, there's not only a greater amount of this amino acid in matcha than other teas, but also more caffeine, about the same as a cup of coffee, and more disease-fighting antioxidants than pomegranates or blueberries. While these superfood health benefits might be enough to inspire you to sip, it's the ancient history of matcha that makes it so special. In fact, the heritage and philosophy of this unique beverage is the reason I predict matcha will become a global lifestyle trend in 2016 and beyond. Yeah, I've got you, girl. Matcha is the tea used in the traditional Japanese tea ceremony, also known as chado, or the way of tea, which was greatly influenced by Zen Buddhism. What I learned through my research, and you did good research. What I learned through my research and from studying the masters. Oh, does she study the masters? Well, that's cool. I'm going to get on that track and speak to some Zen Buddhist masters. Is that tea is more than a beverage. It represents a way of life. A way of life. I have got my bowl and I'm going to go. Continuing on. The tea ceremony itself is designed to bring the inner and outer world into greater harmony. Yay! It does actually. I noticed that when I had taken it, that it's almost that feeling of being in love. And I remember I dated this lorry driver one time called Kenny, and after we had dated, I fell in love. And I remember, oh, was it Kenny or was it Steve? One or the other. Okay, it might have been Steve. I remember feeling in love and going into Marks and Spencer and looking around and thinking, wow, it's so amazing that they have all these different kinds of styles of clothes, and they're all different colors, and they've actually got all different sizes that you can actually go and pick a hanger and try them on and buy them. And I just thought, what's so amazing. And that tea had that same effect of, isn't life absolutely amazing? And I've always wondered how those monks sit around. They didn't do anything. They got no TV, no cream cakes, no chips, no McDonald's, no Celebrity Big Brother. They got nothing going on. I think it's like no fast cars, no shit going down, yet they're like, we're happy. It just gives you that connection to the magic of life, the magic, the glitter of life, the shiny stuff. It's that shit that makes life worth living. And I don't even know what it is. It's like Colin Wilson, the writer, called it peak experiences, where all of a sudden your mind goes above the mundane. Now, I think I dislike the mundane more than most. I really do despise it, actually. And your mind comes out of the 3D and it goes into almost like a four-dimensional peak experience where, like, who was that writer who, Proust, who ate the Madeleine cake outside of the cafe, and all of a sudden his mind felt connected to everything, and he thought, what a wonderful special universe this is. It's like me looking through that travel agency book and seeing the picture of Cambodia and thinking, holy hell, this is amazing place that I've just rejected. But I felt like crying, because I thought, what an amazing world I live in, and yet I'm walking around, with a frown. We live in this amazing world, and it's because we live with our noses right up against the pavement, and we need to sort of step back. And that tea, amazingly, God bless it, gives it that sort of step back where you have that mental, that calm. And actually, I did my first talking of meditation. It's quite freaky, actually. I remember, because on the first night I had it, when I the guy gave me it in the shop, I was trying to meditate, and my meditation never ends well, actually. In fact, I might as well not bother, because I'm crap at it. But I tried to meditate for some reason. Maybe it was brought on by that, but I did try and meditate, and I went back and I realized that I had to get out of my body and just get out of it to meditate, not get out of it to journey, but to get out of it to meditate. And I felt myself detaching from my flesh and my bones and kind of going back, further, further, further. And I realized that to rise higher, I would have to detach totally from whatever this is that is me, and that it was a good thing. But my consciousness could just kind of rise and go into the isness. That word came up in my head at the time. Isness, the isness, the is. And it just, it was just like that connection to that connection to that deep thing that we all need, and we don't have it. We don't have it, especially in the Western world, because we're not drinking matcha tea. We're having all that stuff that's bad for you. We're bunging our bodies. Our bodies are dirty and unhealthy, and we're craving, and we're in addiction mode constantly. No, I'm in addiction mode, and this stuff knocks you out of it, which is, absolutely amazing. She's gone on here to say the formal ritual is designed to inspire transformation and leading one towards spiritual awakening, purity and tranquility. And, you know, she says it's a secret of matcha. It's not just producing the powdered tea, it's, the whole thing. She's gone to say the highest grades of matcha are called ceremonial in honor. So how do you find the best quality? Look for vibrant green, brown or yellowish. No, vibrant green texture. The greener tops are the most soft and supple, finer powder. Definitely the one I got, a T2, is really, really, it's fine as hell. So I just used a pinch of it. So look for pure Japanese matcha and avoid powdered teas, which, yeah, obviously. Um, In Japanese culture, the philosophy of Ichigo Ichi inspires an attitude of honor and gratitude for each moment, one we will never have again. The matcha experience is rooted in the principles of Chado and in this very concept that since we may only meet once, let us honor this valuable time together. I felt like that when I drank it. I felt aware of that we've only got a certain amount of time. Some tea senseis believe that the process of making tea, you come to see the meaning of life. I don't know if this drink can lead to enlightenment, but if it can prevent disease and help me stay calm and alert while creating, yeah, definitely willing to give it a try. She hasn't tried it yet. And she spoke to someone called Lu Fang Lu, director of Wuling Tea Farm. That's interesting. So I might talk to him. We have only got 7 minutes left. So I've really enjoyed sharing that with you guys, and I hope I didn't lose lots of you along the way. I hope it wasn't too boring. Get out there, get to a shop, go to T2 or somewhere else near you, get this stuff down you. Just a pinch of it and some hot water, really just a pinch, and once a day. I'm really do mean it when I say a pinch. When they say pinch of paprika in a stew and you just lean in, you get just a pinch and then you put it in. It's just like that. You can't really see it. I just sprinkled a tiny pinch on that spoon. So that probably lost me like years, that pot I've got. That's all you need. And once a day, don't go overboard on it. That's all you need. And just cut out the crap, cut out the bread, cut out the milk, cut out cigarettes, cut out the alcohol, and stop bunging out our bodies, because the more we bung out our bodies, the more we're going to be stuck in the 3D. And even if you're having a good time in the three-dimensional world, you can only do so much. Look how bored Kim Kardashian is, and she's got all of it. She's even got that $1 million ring, or does she get it nicked? I think she's got it back now, hasn't she? She's got everything, and yet still, bored, 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 bored. Hasn't really, the devil's universe hasn't got much. And I'm talking about materialism because that is the devil's universe. Look to the natural world. It's a natural world where God is. Don't fall for it. Get out of it. Get out of the trap. Get out of the trap, get into the higher zone. If you want to reach me, I'm on Facebook, Christiane Hart or Christine Joanna Hart. Search me up, and please subscribe to my YouTube, which is Christine Joanna Hart at Revolution Radio. Thanks very much for listening. God bless.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio.